Columbia business owner found his passion and career behind bars. KMUA's Sarah Rooney tells us more about how Second Chances has brought this business to success.
Second chances.
Dawson has battled substance abuse, which has led him in and out of prison for most of his young adult life. But it was when he was in prison that he found his second chance.
Puppies for Parole is a program that offers offenders to kind of give back. It's an opportunity to be able to work with shelter animals and be able to make them adoptable. Hi, my name's Trey. I'm 42 years old. I'm from Columbia, Missouri. I'm the owner and founder of Backyard Canine. I am the activities coordinator for a program called Into Action. I'm also a peer specialist at Parole Behavioral Health.
Thank you so much for coming out and taking some time out of your day to come and share your story with us. We really appreciate it. We will just get started right at the beginning. So tell us about your childhood. Did you experience any trauma? What was it like?
Trauma? Yeah, I would say trauma. My mom and dad divorced at a pretty young age. I think I was 7. In and out of juvenile facilities. I think I was in 17 different juvenile facilities from the age of 7 until I was ultimately probably 16. So I think with that came a lot of trauma.
Yeah, absolutely. So why were you in the juvenile facilities?
Beyond parental control.
Okay.
I didn't have no structure.
Right.
Just kind of did what I wanted to do, and that just ultimately led me to different facilities.
So how old were you when you first started experimenting with drugs or alcohol?
I would have to say I distinctively remember I was probably 9, and I found a roach in my brother's ashtray in his car. That was the first time, really. And then I drink beer occasionally, and then started drinking kind of more heavily around 13 or 14 when I would find them small breaks from getting locked up in DYS, and then I'd be out for 6 months. In little 6-month increments, I would, learn and experiment with different things.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And what about high school? Did you graduate?
I actually graduated prison I actually graduated high school in prison. I did get my GED while I was incarcerated when I was a juvenile. So.
Oh, okay. So you were in and out of these places. Were you working at all, or?
No.
Okay.
No, I had no time to work.
Right. I feel it. So can you share a couple of stories that really illustrate what your life was like in active addiction?
So my mom passed away when I was 20. I was in a county jail in St. Louis, Missouri, waiting to get extradited to Kansas City. And I remember calling my mom and saying, "Mom, hey, bail me out." She wouldn't bail me out for good reasons. Mm-hmm. And, I cussed her out and I hung up the phone. It was the last time I talked to my mom, because 2 weeks later I am getting bonded out, but it's by my dad. My mom had an aneurysm and she died. So I missed her funeral because I had a little warrant in another little county that was relatively close to where I was getting released at. So I missed her funeral. So getting out, I just said, you know what, I don't want to be here anymore. So me and my best friend hitchhiked from Lenexa, Kansas all the way to Anaheim, California. And I stayed gone for about 13 years. I was, using meth, alcohol, crack. Started doing heroin in Utah when I was 28. So, yeah.
Wow. I'm so sorry about your mom too.
Yeah.
So, I guess when from there you were using all different kinds of substances.
Right.
When was it like your life was just unmanageable, where it just consumed you and you were doing it every single day and that's all you were doing?
I would have to definitely say when my opiate addiction started.
Oh, okay.
Meth, yeah. Alcohol, yeah. But I could sleep that for 2 weeks and then, be clean for 2 weeks. With heroin, it was a daily constant struggle just to get well, as we say, right? And I was just a slave to that.
Right.
So I think that is where I ultimately realized that, hey, this is something that I didn't have any control over, I felt.
So try to think back to 2 weeks before you got sober. Can you talk about what your days were like then, what your life was like?
I was in a casino with a needle in my foot. Different casinos. Like I said, just kind of vagabond across the United States. I had a warrant out for my arrest for a probation violation, and I ended up falling asleep waiting for a Greyhound bus to take me to Niagara Falls, because I had this great idea that I was going to pay someone to take me a boat into Canada, and that was going to just stop the extradition. Like, they weren't going to come to Canada and get me, right? Just our delusional thinking.
Right.
So I fell asleep, and I got woken up by police officers knocking on my window, and they ended up running my name and finding that I had a probation and parole hold warrant for my arrest, and I went to prison. 27 different county jails across 12 different states, 5 different penitentiaries in 2 different states. January 27th of 2018, I ended up going to prison in Algoa, ACC, here in Missouri. It's in Jefferson City. About 2 months into that stay, I applied for the dog program, which we have Puppies for Parole here in Missouri, and I'd have to say that ultimately changed my life. I made lead dog trainer. So yeah, I got out and started with a program by the name of Into Action, which is a faith-based recovery ministry in Columbia, Missouri, where I still work. I'm the activities director there now. Started my own dog training business called Backyard Canine. So I'm super proud about that. Actually just got rated #1 recommended dog trainer in the Midwest.
Wow.
So that's pretty cool, knowing where I've been and where I'm at now. I get to train dogs with my best friend Mike Montagna, who is also in recovery and is just a living example of everything that I want to be. So I have a great support system, and I think ultimately what keeps me clean today is the accountability that I have from the relationships in my life. So I also work at Parole Behavioral Health, where I work with transitional youth with co-occurring disorders that deal with trauma and different type of disabilities. So it's kind of just coming full circle.
For sure. It sounds like it.
Right.
Did you ever seek any kind of outside help for your personal trauma?
Never did.
No? Okay.
Never did.
Maybe the dogs kind of
Right, they do. And that's what I realized in prison, is that I not only had the ability to take care of myself, but I got the ability to take care of something other than myself.
For sure. So you, I mean, it seems like you took advantage of the fact that you were in prison by using the tools that they were giving you,
right,
and then taking them outside of prison for your own livelihood. So let's talk about the dogs. Let's talk about, so they're canine dogs.
They are. Well, we do a lot of different dogs. So basic and advanced obedience, scent work, protection work. We do a lot of different things. Our motto at Backyard Canine is helping dogs be dogs. So we just we really focus on socialization. So yeah, it's where my heart's at.
That sounds amazing.
Right.
Definitely a job that many others would be jealous about, including
Yeah,
yourself.
I mean, it's pretty cool. I have a lot of friends that say that, Trey, this is what you get paid to do. I'm
right.
like, I do. I've always tried to find the path of least resistance anyway, so, why not play with dogs?
Right.
So
It works out. So what about your relationships today?
I finally know what relationships are. I've never had relationships before. Like I said, I have my best friend. I'm going to say his name again because he would expect me to, Mike Montagna. I really wish you had the opportunity to meet him.
One day.
And his wife, Kirsten. They've been a huge part in my recovery. My sister, who stood by me through, just nightmares of my addiction. My niece, my niece's kids, who I call my niece and nephew too. So for the first time in my life, 42 years, they're able to see someone they'd never seen before. So
that's awesome. It's very cool. So what, you spoke on this a little bit, but what dreams do you have? What dreams have come true for you, and what hopes do you have for the future?
I mean, today that I'm sitting here doing this interview, and not have no desire at all to use. I think that ultimately is a dream that I always had, that I just always said, well, if I could just feel normal, I would be okay. But I needed this drug in order that I thought to feel normal. And now I'm able just to wake up, by the love and mercy of, Jesus Christ, through, my own personal story, through my own lived experience, through my relationships. That's the dream. I've never had that before. My hopes are just to be able to use that story for other people that are just struggling. Yeah, I mean, that's the hope shot.
Yeah. Well, you certainly are accomplishing that today. So, can you describe a certain feeling that you have received through recovery that was not there when you were in active addiction?
Accountability. And I think that's what
Yes,
ultimately keeps me clean today.
Yeah.
You know, is that accountability through relationships and having boundaries, the just feeling of self-worth. I don't want to use the word proud, but I do want to use the word proud. I am proud of where I'm at today.
Yeah. So you should be.
I mean, I'm only 2 years out of prison, and I'm not. I hear people say, "Well, what if you would have done?" It's not what if. I did all that, and I am where I'm at today, primarily because of the path that I took. So I wouldn't change it for anything. Am I proud of the things that I did? Absolutely not. But would I change any of it? Probably not, because it wouldn't bring me to where I am today.
Yeah. Definitely. And so, what are some intangible and tangible gifts that you've received in sobriety?
Definitely that guy.
Oh.
That's Prince Paul Henry. That's my dog. You know, I have a brand new vehicle. I have everything. I don't really know when it speaks about tangible. I mean, the relationships that I have with my small group, with my church, being able to have relationships now to where if there's anything that I would need, any physical need, any emotional need, any spiritual need, I can reach out to the people that I'm around now, and they provide that for me. So I think tangible is just the relationships.
For sure.
And Prince Paul Henry.
Yeah. So. I love his name too. It's
Me
very,
too.
very
And it's
cute.
PAWL. So it's
Of course. it
right,
is.
right. But you're only going to be able to see him if you like Backyard K9.
Okay.
And it's Backyard K and a 9, all one word, on Facebook.
Cool. All right. I'm definitely going to check that out because I want to see him. So, and what have you learned from your addiction?
I mean, everything, right? I mean, I hear people, and I seen a shirt that said, "You've got a PhD, I've got a lived experience. We are not the same." And I think that speaks a lot. Not saying that anybody that has had a lived experience can't go on to get a PhD, but it's that nothing with us without us, that I can't, we can motto. I think just being able to communicate with people is the one thing that I've learned.
Yeah.
So.
It's something that I picked up too, which I never ever
Right.
had before. What words of hope could you share with somebody trying to get sober?
Stick with the winners.
I love that.
Stick with the winners.
Very true. All right. Well, is there anything else that I didn't ask that we missed that you wanted to talk about here today?
If you're out there and you're struggling, you can't get into treatment, maybe because of insurance, you don't have the money, you don't have the time, you just need to get well that one last time. Your last time using can be your last time using. And remember that. There is hope. And I'm not just some recreational drug user that got clean sitting here to tell you this. I was an every day, every other hour heroin addict that died 3 times, that couldn't even find a vein anymore because my body just wouldn't produce any, it seemed. It's somebody that's robbed, stole, lied every single day in order just to get well. If that's you, you know, there is a hope for change, but it takes a commitment. It takes you have to stop, whatever that looks like for you. For me, it was a relationship with my higher power, but it is possible. Stick with the winners. Stay in the middle of the boat.
Very well said. Beautifully said. And you have an amazing story. And like you just said, like, we are not recreational users. Like, we're people that do this all the time, live for this, and then turn our lives around. And you are living proof that there is hope. And we really appreciate you taking the time, coming out here, and sharing that with us today at On the Road of Recovery. Got to check out your Facebook page.
Backyard Canine.
Backyard Canine. All right, Trey.
But
Thank
it's
you.
K9 Backyard, all one word.
Canine Backyard, all one word. Thanks, Trey.
Sit. Can you go down? Can you wait? Free.